In the heart of a vast and lush African jungle, surrounded by tall trees and sparkling rivers, lay the beautiful kingdom of Umara. The kingdom was a place of joy and laughter, where the people lived in harmony with nature. They sang songs, they danced under the moonlight, and told stories around the fire. Children played in the fields while elders shared wisdom with the young. In the center of Umara stood the grand palace, a magnificent structure built from the finest stones and adorned with intricate carvings. This was where the royal family lived. King Ekene was a wise and kind ruler, beloved by all. His queen, Queen Nia, was gentle and caring, always helping the people with their troubles. She was known for her compassion and her skill in healing. The couple ruled with fairness and love, and their subjects were happy and prosperous. But one day, everything changed. Queen Nia fell gravely ill. Despite the best efforts of the healers, who used the most potent herbs and ancient rituals, she did not recover. The whole kingdom mourned her loss, and King Ekene was heartbroken. He withdrew from public life, consumed by grief, and the once lively palace became a place of sorrow and silence. Not long after Queen Nia's death, a mysterious woman appeared at the gate of the palace. She was stunningly beautiful, with skin as smooth as silk, and eyes that sparkled like stars. Her name was Imiko. She wore elegant robes that shimmered in the sunlight and moved with a grace that enchanted all who saw her. King Ekene, still grieving for his queen, was mesmerized by Imiko's beauty. She spoke with a voice like music, and her smile lit up the darkest corners of his heart. She claimed to be a healer from a distant land, and she offered to help the king find peace. Her presence was like a breath of fresh air in the gloomy palace. Imiko was welcomed into the palace, and soon she became a close advisor to the king, Ekene. She charmed everyone with her grace and wisdom, and it wasn't long before the king asked her to marry him. Imiko accepted, and she became the new queen of Umara. The people were hopeful that Imiko's presence would bring back the joy that had been lost with Queen Nia's passing. But now, unknowing to the people of Umara, Imiko had a dark secret. She was not an ordinary woman. She was an ancient sorceress who had discovered a way to maintain her beauty and youth by consuming the flesh of men. Every full moon, she would transform into a fearsome creature and hunt her prey in the depths of the jungle. Imiko's magic kept her true nature hidden from everyone, even the king, King Ekene. She continued to charm the court and the people. But strange things began to happen in the kingdom. Men started disappearing without a trace, and a sense of fear and unease spread among the people. Whispers of curses and dark magic began to circulate, but no one suspected the beautiful queen. The first man to disappear was Django, a loyal palace guard. He had been captivated by Imiko's beauty and often found reasons to be near her. One night, under the full moon, Imiko invited Django to a secluded part of the palace garden. She spoke sweetly, weaving a spell around him with her words and gestures. As Django leaned in closer, enchanted by her allure, Imiko revealed her true form. Before he could react, she pounced, consuming his flesh to sustain her beauty. Django's disappearance was noted the next morning, but no one could explain where he had gone. The people of Umara were puzzled and frightened by the sudden disappearance of their men. Fathers, sons, and brothers went missing, never to return. The village elders consulted the spirits, but they received no clear answers. The disappearances continued, and the people grew increasingly fearful. One of the next victims was Tunde, a skilled blacksmith known for his strength and generosity. Tunde often visited the palace to deliver finely crafted weapons and tools. Imiko, noticing his visits, began to show a special interest in him. One evening, Imiko approached Tunde as he was working late in his forge. She praised his skill and offered to take a walk with him by the river. Tunde, flattered and intrigued, agreed. They walked under the moonlight, and Imiko's charm soon took hold of him. As they reached a quiet, dark spot by the river, Imiko transformed again. Tunde, too, fell victim to her hunger. The village mourned his disappearance, and whispers of a curse began to spread. The disappearances continued, and the people grew increasingly fearful. The village elders decided to send a group of men into the forest to uncover the mystery. These men were brave and strong, each with a deep love for their families and a desire to protect their home. Among them was Okoro, a wise and experienced hunter. He led the group, which included Eze, a young warrior, Kamau, a skilled tracker, and Chidi, a healer with knowledge of the forest secrets. The men set out at dawn, armed with weapons and provisions. They moved quietly through the dense jungle, their senses alert to any sign of danger. As they ventured deeper, the forest grew darker and more foreboding. They discovered traces of the missing men, scraps of clothing, broken weapons, and signs of struggle. Okoro, using his keen tracking skills, followed a trail that led them to a clearing where the ground was stained with blood. The men felt a chill in the air, and they knew they were getting closer to the truth. As night fell, the men set up camp, deciding to rest before continuing their search. They took turns keeping watch, their eyes scanning the shadows for any sign of movement. During Okoro's watch, he heard a faint rustling in the bushes. He signaled the others, and they prepared for any possible attack. Out of the darkness, Imiko appeared, her beauty even more enchanting in the moonlight. Okoro, recognizing her from the palace, was shocked. "Queen Imiko, what are you doing here?" he asked. Imiko smiled, a cold glint in her eyes. "I could ask you the same, hunter." Before the men could react, Imiko transformed into a monstrous form. A fierce battle ensued, but the men were no match for her strength and speed. One by one, they fell, their screams echoing through the forest. Only Okoro managed to escape, wounded but determined to warn the village. He stumbled through the jungle, his mind racing with the horrors he had witnessed. He knew he had to make it back to Umara to tell the king the truth. When Okoro finally reached the village, he collapsed from exhaustion and his injuries. The villagers rushed to his aid, and he told them everything before losing consciousness. King Ekene listened to Okoro's tale with a heavy heart. He couldn't believe that his beloved Imiko was responsible for his disappearances, but he knew that he had to act to protect his people. The king gathered his advisors and warriors to discuss the situation. They decided to confront Imiko and find a way to end her reign of terror. Okoro, still weak but resolute, insisted on joining them. "I have seen her true form," he said. "I can help you defeat her." The group approached the palace. King Ekene, along with his bravest warriors, approached Imiko in the palace. "Imiko, we know your secret," he said, his voice filled with sorrow. Imiko's eyes flashed with anger. "You think you can stop me?" she hissed. "I am more powerful than you can imagine." The warriors attacked, but Imiko fought back with ferocity, her true form revealed. She was a formidable foe. The battle raged on, with both sides sustaining heavy losses. Imiko's strength seemed insurmountable, and despair began to creep into the hearts of the warriors. Realizing that brute force alone wouldn't be enough, King Ekene consulted the village elders. They decided to seek the help of the forest spirits, hoping that their ancient wisdom could provide a solution. The elders performed a sacred ritual, calling upon the spirits for guidance. They learned that Imiko's curse could only be broken by an act of true love and sacrifice. King Ekene, deeply saddened by the turn of events, realized that he was the one who had to make the sacrifice. He loved Imiko despite her dark secrets, and he was willing to do anything to save his people and free her from the curse. He decided to offer himself as the ultimate sacrifice, hoping that his love for Imiko would be enough to break the curse. The village elders prepared a sacred ritual to break the curse. They gathered in a sacred grove, surrounded by ancient trees and the spirits of their ancestors. King Ekene stood in the center, his heart heavy but resolute. Imiko, still imprisoned, watched with a mixture of hope and fear. The spirits of the forest appeared, their forms shimmering in the moonlight. They tested King Ekene's love and resolve, presenting him with visions of his past and future. They showed him the consequences of his sacrifice and the possible outcomes. But King Ekene stood firm, his love for Imiko and his people guiding him. The spirits, satisfied with his sincerity, granted him their blessings. A brilliant light enveloped Imiko as the curse began to break. Her monstrous form melted away and she returned to her true self. Tears streamed down her face as she realized the depth of King Ekene's love and sacrifice. The people of Umara watched in awe as the curse was lifted, and Imiko stood before them, free from the dark magic that had bound her. With the curse broken, Imiko vowed to make amends for her past actions. She dedicated herself to helping the people of Umara, using her knowledge for magic for good. The kingdom began to heal, and the missing men were mourned but remembered with love and honor. The people forgave Imiko, understanding the power of true love and sacrifice. Umara flourished under the renewed leadership of King Ekene and Queen Imiko. The kingdom became a beacon of hope and resilience, where love and forgiveness triumphed over darkness. The spirits of the forest continued to watch over the kingdom, their blessings ensuring prosperity and peace. King Ekene and Queen Imiko's story became a legend in Umara. Parents told their children about the power of love, sacrifice and forgiveness, passing down the tale from generation to generation. The kingdom celebrated an annual festival to honor the spirits and remember the sacrifices that had been made to protect their land. So, the story of King Ekene and Queen Imiko teaches us that true love and sacrifice can overcome even the darkest curses. It reminds us that forgiveness and compassion are powerful forces that can heal wounds and bring about lasting changes. In the end, the kingdom of Umara flourished and the people lived in peace and prosperity, guided by the wisdom and love of their king and queen. And so, the tale of the beautiful Imiko was passed down through the ages, a timeless reminder of the enduring power of love.